Breaking news from the NFL, the Las Vegas Raiders are closing in on a deal to make Seahawks offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak as their next head coach. That's according to multiple reports. The Raiders can't officially hire Kubiak until after the Super Bowl. It would be the second straight coach with Seattle ties to take the job in Vegas after Pete Carroll, who was fired after one season. The Raiders are turning to an offensive-minded coach as they likely prepare to take Heisman Trophy winner and national champion Fernando Mendoza with the #1 pick in the NFL draft. Breaking news from the NFL, the Las Vegas Raiders intend to hire Seahawks offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak as their next head coach. That's been confirmed by our own Jonathan Jones. The Raiders can't officially make a deal with Kubiak until after the Super Bowl. It would be the second straight coach with Seattle ties to take the job in Vegas after Pete Carroll, who was fired after just one season. The Raiders are turning to an offensive mind now as they likely prepare to take Heisman Trophy winner and national champion Fernando Mendoza with the #1 pick in the NFL draft. For much more on this, let's go ahead and say hello to our own Bryant McFadden. B-Mac, great to see you. So if or when they do come to a final agreement here, what do you make of Kubiak's fit in Las Vegas?
I love the fit. I love the fit, honestly. When you look at the job he's done throughout his professional career, just being hands-on with offenses and quarterbacks, he's really excelled. And I've been saying this for quite some time, Jordan. If you have the last name Kubiak or Shanahan, you can coach offensive football. You can coach offensive football when you look at their legacy in terms of the football bloodlines those individuals have been a part of. And Klint Kubiak is coming from a great family tree of quality offensive minds. And we're seeing the fruits of his labor being produced there this season for the Seattle Seahawks as they get ready for Super Bowl 60. So for the Raiders, a team that was a very, very bad offensive team, going out to get a genius, to say the least, is a very, very impressive feat for them to try to right some of their wrongs that we saw in 2025.
You know, the Raiders haven't had much luck with the head coaching position since really firing John Gruden. Do you think Kubiak can buck that trend?
I think so. I think the thing about the Raiders, when this deal is finalized, Jordan, they have to understand they will need to exercise patience. And why I say that is because this is a team, they lack talent. Let's keep it real. They lack talent. They lacked talent last year. And now trying to become a more competitive team in a very, very competitive division, you will have to address the talent issue or the lack thereof. So that could take a few years to kind of get things afloat. But the first thing you need to do is get a head coach that can create the culture that is needed to be able to build upon when you add talent. So that is the first much needed piece to this puzzle, the head coach, and then identifying the next pieces that need to be added to this organization. And that starts with addressing the talent issue. You look at the last 2 first-round selections. Brock Bowers, when he's healthy, Jordan, he's one of the best tight ends in the National Football League. You look at Ashton Genty, he did more with less. When you look at how anemic the offensive line play was, he still provided serviceable production. So those 2 last ones for the Raiders, they seem to be quality bright spots moving forward. Potentially, as you alluded to, Fernando Mendoza seems like the ideal pick for them being at #1. Now you get your quarterback in place. Now you look at the last 3 previous first-round picks. Those are guys that I believe have a high potential and the ability to really take this organization in a more competitive landmark than what they have not been able to do over the last few seasons.
Okay, so let's dive deeper into that because it's a really good point. You mentioned the talent they have on that side of the ball with Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, and as you just mentioned, wildly expected to take Fernando Mendoza in the upcoming NFL draft. What would a Kubiak-style offense with Mendoza and some of those other guys around him look like?
Well, not misdirection, but being able to get him outside the pocket, because I really love Fernando's athleticism. You look at some of the things he's done with Sam Darnold, getting him out in the pocket, getting him in space, being able to be high efficient in the red zone, and just being accurate. The thing I love about what we watch with Sam Darnold, especially the latter part of 2025, his ability to protect the football, be clean with the football. Because when you have a quarterback that's playing clean football, he never puts the football in harm's way, and you're able to to score more than not. And that's what we're seeing with Sam Darnold. So if you're the Raiders, if you look at what Klint Kubiak has done with the Seattle Seahawks this year, especially on the offensive end, you want the same thing. With the ideal of bringing in Fernando Mendoza, you want a guy that has had experience working with quarterbacks, has experience being successful working with those said quarterbacks, and you hope that he can go ahead and put Fernando in the same type seat that Sam Darnold is currently sitting in and being able to flourish. But like I said, Jordan, all of that, it sounds good, but you have to go out and address the talent, the lack thereof. Because you look at Seattle, they got a quality running back in Kenneth Walker, of course. I love Ashton Genty for the Raiders. You look at Seattle, they got a for sure wide receiver one in JSN. They don't have those luxuries there with the Raiders. You got Cooper Kupp, you got Rashid Shaheed, you got quality tight end play. You look at the offensive line, they got 2 bookend tackles. So they have a lot that Klint has the ability to work with in Seattle. Those issues will be addressed moving forward for the Raiders. But the first major piece is getting the head coach and allow the rest of the dominoes to follow.
We'll end here with a very important point that you made a little bit earlier, and that's that Vegas needs to be patient here. The AFC West, perhaps the toughest division in the entire league. With that being said, would you expect Vegas to make a significant improvement next year? And if not, how much time do you think it will take?
Well, based on how the roster is constructed right now, I'll say no. But we haven't embarked into the offseason for 2026 when you talk about the draft and free agency. So a lot can happen between now and the free agency process along with the draft. But as I see it now, right now, Jordan, I have to say no because they need talent on every side of the football field. You know, you have Max Crosby on the defensive side. Will he be in a Raiders uniform in 2026? We don't know, but we know he is their best defensive player for their team. And then offensively, you got to get healthy on the offensive line. You got to go get some playmakers in the passing game outside of Brock Bowers. So right now, I'll say no. But if you look at the AFC representative for Super Bowl 60 in the New England Patriots, when they finished their season in 2024, a year ago, they finished with only 4 wins, if not mistaken. Didn't really look exciting moving forward. But 2 things they had at their disposal: a lot of cap money, and they were set in prime positions in the draft. And guess what they did, Jordan? They hit on every opportunity. Via the draft, via free agency, they spent their money wisely. So for the Raiders, that is a reason to be optimistic and excited. Because yes, Drake May was going into year 2. Your quarterback potentially will be a rookie starter. But outside of that, you potentially have the resources to improve your team dramatically. And if you need to look at a bright spot, look at the current representative in the AFC for Super Bowl 60, the New England Patriots. You got to spend wisely. You got to draft wisely.
Good things take time, B-Mac. That is true. So we will be patient. Raiders fans will pump the brakes a little bit, and we will leave it there.